Hi everybody, welcome back to another episode of All About You, and I am joined once again by Matilda.
Good to be back.
Thank you for coming back. Today we're talking about another topic to do with love life.
Yes.
Listen, I know, Matilda, I know that it's difficult to hear certain things.
Yes.
I understand, I know, because that's the thing, with love life. People don't go anywhere to learn.
Yeah.
So they don't like to be, in a way, told that they are wrong.
Exactly.
But if you don't hear it, you will continue making the same mistake and then wondering or thinking that the problem is you, in a sense that you're not good enough. Oh, I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. When in fact is a negative attitude that the person has. Another bad habit.
Things they've learned from the wrong places as well.
Yeah.
Things they've seen. So, like you said, we are not here to, tell people like, oh, you can't find love. We're actually here to teach people that it's possible to find love when you do things the right way. And to be happy. Exactly.
Listen, Matilda, I don't know how many times I've said this. Talking to people about love life, that it's not rocket science. Yeah. It's majority of the problem has to do with today's topic.
Oh, yes.
So if you watch this episode with an open heart and an open mind, I guarantee you that you might be able to save your relationship or change the way you behave and the way you see the person you are with. What is the topic of today, Matilda?
We're talking about the ego.
Ego. Now, ego. Look at this. Think about this quote here, okay, that I just made up. Ego in a marriage, you either kill ego or ego kills your marriage. We say marriage, we say relationship.
Yeah.
So think about that. Matilda, let's go to the street interviews and then we'll come back after this. Yes. All right? Join us.
Well, everybody has ego. That's what we're like as human beings. But if you mean somebody has an inflated sense of themselves, like if they're narcissistic, then what my advice would be to anyone who has a partner like that is to pack and get out.
I think that it's good to be equal and have the same sort of feeling with each other. So I think ego and pride always puts you above that person, and I think that it's best to have the same ground.
If two people got different views, you must be prepared to listen to each other and try and meet somewhere.
I think every relationship has a little bit of ego in it because we're human beings, so we kind of care about ourselves to an extent. But in a relationship, it's very important to sacrifice all of your wants and desires and really take into account the other party's feelings and emotions.
If a relationship is fairly equal, then yes, it can last as long as you're aware yourself of what your relationship style is and what the style of your partner is. Then most things can be negotiated.
I don't think it will last as long. I think it will be a bit, maybe more short-lived. They might be a bit, not controlling, but they might take that upper hand in the relationship. I think that it's best to have a mutual ground.
I don't think it can last if you're purely thinking about yourself. When it comes to pride as well, I think sometimes you've got to take hits on your pride for the greater good of the relationship. It shouldn't be viewed in terms of you're a winner or a loser. You're winning together or you're losing together.
But the key to it all is communication between people. If one partner is either physically or emotionally abusive, then that person should seek help and not stay in the relationship.
I would say being a bit big-headed and sort of making someone feel a bit belittled.
If someone's showing you clear signs of their ego, like this is where I am, and not willing to compromise, that's a real clear warning sign, like just be aware this is heading for trouble, because someone who loves you should be able to compromise with you. Love is about respecting each other and hearing each other's views. And if that's not what it's about, then you're not compatible.
Well, 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 welcome back from the street interviews and some very interesting topics there. So there was a guy that said something very interesting. He said, you have to be willing to take hits on your pride for the sake of your relationship. And so what does that mean? In a relationship, there's times when you have to back down. You have to say sorry.
There's times. It's an understatement. There's
This
many
is-
times.
Exactly. You have to be willing to say sorry because you're thinking, if I say sorry now, in the long term, we're going to be happy for the greater good. I'm going to have a peaceful home. So what is wrong with just saying, I am sorry? And
I agree. Some wise words there.
Some really wise words. I was actually very surprised.
Yeah,
And then there was
done.
another guy that was like, oh, you know, you both win, you both lose together. So in a nutshell, you're playing for the same team. So what's the point in holding on to things, in, you know, holding
not
on to
even
grudges?
intelligent.
Exactly. Because if you lose, she loses as well. If you win, he wins as well. So just play for the same team. I thought there were very interesting points there that were mentioned.
But today we're going to share some tips.
Yes.
Tip number 1, let's go.
5 signs your ego is ruining your relationship. Number 1, one of you has an overwhelming desire to be right. So that one person that always wants to be right, you know? And I think people are watching thinking, oh, I think this is me now. I can identify with this one. But it's true because human beings, we have that innate desire to always want to be right. But in a relationship, you're with someone who's different from you. So it means you're with someone who's coming with a different point of view.
And also, Matilda, you know, for people at home, listen to this. Look how this makes sense. Actually, today's topic was taken from our weekly seminars, Love Life, called Love Therapy. Look at this. Marriage, or when you are in a relationship, that person becomes your mirror. So you see yourself in that person. So you get surprised because I didn't know I was that selfish. Because the person is telling you, you are selfish, but then you resist. What do you mean I'm selfish? You probably are, because now you have someone with you 24/7 who sees you as you are in your natural environment. And yes, you may be selfish. And then, you see, relationships can be very healthy for our ego. All right, so don't be afraid. I know it's hard, Matilda, I know. All your life you believed that you were a princess. You know, growing up, your mom says, oh, my little princess, you are my little, but then you grow up, hold on a second, where are my servants? So I need to get a job and oh, okay, I can't just go and swipe the card anytime I want. I need to pay for my bills, my credit card. But I thought I was a princess. Yes, we are not princesses. And sometimes it's hard to know the truth. So you've heard all your life, oh, you are so good, but then you find out you're not that good. But it's okay. You learn marriage is good. It teaches us to be better people.
Exactly.
Tip number 2, Matilda.
Number 2, lack of apologizing when necessary.
Well,
Ooh.
we've touched on that.
Yes.
You've got to apologize.
You
There's
have
no
to.
other. Listen, sometimes apologizing is the key to a door called peace.
Yeah.
So, for example, you are about to go out on a very nice day out with your partner, with your spouse, and you've planned that day. You are both of you are off that day, but then you can see there's something happening, an argument trying to rise. Be the bigger person and humble yourself, even if it wasn't entirely your fault. Because if you don't apologize, guess what? Maybe you won't go out anymore and your whole day will be ruined. And Matilda, time is something you can never, never, ever get back.
So true. It's
You
spot
can't.
on.
I wish I could go back in time, or maybe not, because I've learned so much from my mistakes. But you know, you can't. For example, 10 minutes ago, it's over. You can't rewind. So it's okay to say I'm sorry. It's human. It's all right. All right?
Exactly.
Third one.
Unhealthy competition. So I'm going to read this one. It says,
Yes.
while a bit of healthy competition can be beneficial, highly competitive couples might sometimes have problems. It should be fun competing with your partner, not getting angry or feeling belittled. No matter who takes it to the next level, it can cause unnecessary drama. And this is where the ego sometimes tries to rise, because it's like, oh, maybe, oh, I earn more than you. Oh, you earn more than me. Why? Because in a relationship, you're playing for the same team, like we said, and you're meant to be helping each other, completing one another, not belittling your partner, making he or she feel like you're better than them, because there's no point in that.
You know, Matilda, some people, they don't realize that they belittle the other person. They are just, you know, the teacher's pet, is that how you call it? They know everything. They know everything, the meaning of everything. They know all the news. They know the latest news. They know everything. They've achieved so much. Wow. So they can't just be quiet about it. So you see, when you are in a relationship, you have to be mindful, because maybe the person you are with never got a degree and she's fine. But if you keep going on about all these wonderful certificates you have and PhDs and all these things, it's not helping, is it?
Because you make the person feel like, oh, I'm not good enough. I'm not up to your standard. But in a relationship, you always
the person wasn't even thinking about anything.
Exactly.
But you're always there on their face, reminding them. I'm not saying you should hide your success. That's not what we are saying. But be mindful. Or don't marry someone who is not academically the same as you. If you love to talk about books all day long, and Shakespeare and whatever, some people couldn't care less. You know, they are worried about, all they think about is their 9-to-5 job and picking up the kids after work. Things of the moment. But you like to talk about all these things. Is it really necessary? Maybe it will bring up some insecurity that the person was trying to overcome. And that doesn't mean you are not being yourself. So these are things you need to consider when you are dating. You should watch our previous episode, okay? And what's the other one?
Number 4, you argue over little things. So little things that you should just brush under the carpet, some people make it a big deal. You know, like for instance, I'll give an example. I remember I was listening to a seminar on our platform, Univer, and I heard, you know, the person talking about how sometimes when she wants to go to bed, she likes to switch the light off, and, you know, her partner likes to read. And I was like, oh, this is me. Because when I want to go to bed, I want to switch the light off, like,
completely.
But then sometimes, you know, he wants to read, he wants to do something. And I was like, can we not just switch off the light? Oh my gosh, I want to sleep. I like the darkness. But then when I watched that and I thought, oh my gosh, this is me. I was like, why am I complaining over light? Something so simple. If you want to read, read. So it's little things like this.
You have someone who loves you by your side, and yet you are complaining about the light.
Yes.
Sorry, Matilda, that's really bad.
No,
but I'm glad you realized. And then what's the other one, Matilda?
So you refuse to forgive.
Oh.
So there are people in relationships that hold on to lack of forgiveness. Someone does something to them and they just don't let it go. They point, because you did this last year and last year you did this. They never let the person have peace.
Well, about forgiveness, let me just say something that I really strongly believe in. It's like this. If your partner did something to you that you find is very painful, like, for example, betrayal or lying, for you it's a big deal. And it should be, because lying, a person who lies can do anything. So you have 2 choices. You talk about the problem, about the incident. You either choose to be with the person, forgive them, and never, ever, ever again talk about what happened. Or if you don't know how to do that, if you can't do that, if it's something that you just can't swallow, then it is justified, Matilda. You don't have to accept betrayal. You don't have to. Would it be nice would it be ideal for you to forgive and move on and never, ever think about it? Absolutely. But is it too much for you? If it is, then move on. Don't stay with the person. But if you stay with the person, then don't make that relationship hell by talking about it all the time. So it's like the betrayal is happening every week, every time you talk about it. So it's not healthy for you. It's not healthy for the person. And the person doesn't feel like they were forgiven. You should always forgive, regardless of you staying with the person or moving on. Yeah. But can I live with this person from now on and look them in the eyes and not remember what he did? No, I can't. So be honest, resolve it amicably. Obviously, come and seek help and advice before you go your separate ways. And to make sure, because many couples can forgive each other and be happily married after that. It depends on, some advice you may seek and the words of wisdom you may listen to. But if you can't, move on. But if you can, stay together, but don't talk about it. So that's a rule. Yeah. It's not fair that you keep being reminded, because Matilda, when we go to God for forgiveness and we go to him every day, how would you like for God to remind you every single time, oh, you did this? Because God, he sees things that you have never told anyone. He knows your thoughts, he knows your intentions, and he knows every single thing you did in the dark, like nobody knows. The stealing, the deceiving, the betrayals, and yet he forgives. And he never tells you, oh, but remember you did this. No. So this is why the Bible says, if you want forgiveness, you need to forgive. Otherwise, the Father will not forgive you, isn't it?
Yes, very powerful.
Maybe we should have that verse there on the screen. I'll ask our colleagues to add that to our program. Because it's worth thanking. Yes. We think too highly of ourselves. This is why people find it hard to forgive. Forgiveness always. Staying together is another thing separate. Ideally, yes, be together, be peaceful, forget and forgive and move on. But forgiveness always, all right? Yes. Matilda, we have an advert we would like to share with you. Join us after that.
In the complex realm of love, there are those who find themselves not quite hitting the mark, experiencing challenges on their romantic journey. Maybe you are one of those who have always missed the target. You are a single person who has been in many relationships, but you never seem to be close to finding the right one. You are married, but the problems you face are making you to contemplate divorce. Or maybe in your marriage, you find yourself drawn towards harmful distractions like an addiction to pornography. Whatever you aim for, you always miss the target in your love life. But fear not, because there is hope for those who are willing to realign their perspective on love. Take the first step towards hitting the target of true love by joining us on Thursday in the Love Therapy Seminar at 8 p.m. at 232 Seven Sisters Road, Finsbury Park, London, N4 3NX. Also at select locations across the country.
Welcome back, and as you can see, we have our Love Therapy Seminars every Thursday at 8 p.m. And 1 hour before the seminars, we have experienced advisors who are available to guide you, to help you in any area of your love life. And you can check us out worldwide at a Universal Church near you.
Yeah. Actually, if you notice, there's some addresses at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah.
I hope you can read them. I have asked them to slow down the pace of the addresses because these are our branches in the UK, but you can go to uckg.org to find out more about worldwide branches, okay? We are in many countries and we offer the same help, free of charge. Now, let's move on before we leave to 5 more steps. Which ones?
Yes, so how to make sure that your ego is not ruining your relationship. Number 1, remember that no one is perfect. And it's true because we all make mistakes. We all have things in ourselves that we need to improve. And we have to remember that a relationship will challenge us. It's not going to just be, love.
Unless you marry a yes person.
Exactly. If
the
you
person
marry,
who is
how do you-
very
exactly.
insecure
Mhm.
and they don't speak, they just
Yeah.
let you know, okay, but they will resent you sooner or later.
It's true.
So that's not healthy either. Maybe it's a topic for another day.
It's true.
So number 2, replace harsh words. Be gentle. Words are like darts. Can I say darts?
Yes. Uh-huh.
You throw a dart, is that how you say? You throw, you can take it out, but the mark will be left
Yes.
right there. So let's be very careful. You know, I know that some people are very good at argument, at winning an argument. They are really like winners, super winners. You know, people who like to speak and they are very talkative. If you are like that, you need to be even more careful than the average, more quiet person. Be careful with the words you say, okay? People become depressed, what else? Traumatized, because of words usually. Because of words.
Yeah.
It's that person who grew up listening to a parent saying, oh, you are stupid. I know it's a strong word, but yeah, this happens. Your sister or your brother is a lot more brighter than you are. So those words, they kill. They don't give life. So be careful with the words.
Yes.
Right?
100%.
Next one.
And it says compromise. And it says when you're in a relationship, seek your partner's opinion and don't disregard thoughts. Learn to compromise in a way that works for both of you. It's true, like the lights. You know, something so simple. If it works for him, fine. And then, you know, what's the big deal? And that's one thing we have to remember, that things are not big deals. Just compromise.
You know, I think what will help you compromise, perhaps another practical example, is that, remember, you chose that person. You chose that person. Obviously, there are other cultures where you don't get to choose, but we are not talking about that. We're talking about a normal, an average relationship. You choose that person. There was something about that person that pleased you. But also, Matilda, and this has to do with our previous episode that you should really check out. Many people, they turn a blind eye to red flags.
Yes.
So the person you are dating has a problem with communication. You need to know how the person was raised. You need to, the dating is about you looking at that person that you are interested in and thinking, hold on, who is this human being? I like him. He's very smart, very handsome. But this is what dating is for. And many people skip that stage. So they don't want to know about their past, things they've been through. The past is the past, but the past or life prior to that moment when you met, shaped that person's personality, character, likes and dislikes, ways of thinking. So wouldn't that be important for you to know? So when you understand where the person came from and you still decide to go ahead and marry that person, then compromising shouldn't be difficult because you put yourself in that person's shoes. But if while you are dating, Matilda, you see that, no, this is too much for me. I don't think I can, live a life with a person like this. Perhaps the person came from a background of many relationships, but maybe you never had a relationship. Maybe that person has a very heavy past and you were daddy's girl. Not in a negative way, but you grew up in a very nice environment. So you've never seen anything like tragic or anything, but that person grew up in that kind of, past, that kind of environment. So for them, they will be tougher than you. They will speak in a way that may be too strong, and you will be constantly feeling hurt. You see what I mean? It's not enough to like, is this person compatible with me? And then make a choice. And then once you are together, it shouldn't be difficult to compromise, all right? Because you bear these things in mind. Matilda, what's the other one?
It says apologize. So when you're wrong, don't hesitate to apologize. Some of you have been speaking about apology today, like
Apology, humbleness kills ego.
That's
it. We could just say that in our program today
it's true, and that
call
will
it a
sum
day.
everything. It's so true, but like you said, sorry.
Yeah.
No one died. You're still alive. You're still
Exactly.
kicking. Just say sorry.
Yeah. It's so good to say sorry. You sleep better.
Yeah.
You make the other person happy. And you have peace, and peace is priceless. What's the other one, Matilda, and the last one?
Just exactly what you were just saying. Remember why you were drawn together. So there was something about that person that drew you to the person. So you, like you were saying, you were dating, you saw things, but you still went ahead. So now that you're in the relationship, you have to be willing to sacrifice. You have to be willing to put aside your will, because you know, okay, this is how this person is. We're learning together, we're improving together. And there's things I'm going to have to say, do you know what? I'm going to change for the sake of this person.
And in marriage, you know, just to finalize, marriage is about, think like this. Think of 2 boiled potatoes. You want to make a very tasty, smooth mash, you know, mashed potatoes. Those potatoes need to be mashed together until they become really nice and smooth. And then you put some seasoning. Guess what? This is marriage. Marriage makes you become one. And you can never separate those 2 potatoes again, because now they've become one as a mash. So when you are crushing the potato, think about you. You are being, you know, you are not so comfortable. Think of the mashing process as you getting to know your real self, because now you have a mirror called your partner who reminds you, hey, why are you so selfish? Why are you so unforgiving? And you're like, what, me? Unforgiving? Unforgiving? Why? So it's not easy, but that's the process. And in this process, you may need counseling, advice. So like I said, and honestly, we, you know, Matilda, we do this, we record these programs, not because we don't have anything else to do, but to really genuinely help people. So I'm here again reminding you that if you need some advice, it's okay. Actually, you can get in touch with us to talk to someone any day of the week. And then you can attend the seminar on Thursdays. So we are available not 24/7, only on our helpline, on our WhatsApp line, but you can come to the church. Our doors are open from 6:30 in the morning all the way to the last person leaving, which sometimes is 10 p.m. at night. All our pastors are available to sit down with you, pray for you, advise you. These are pastors who are well married. So think about it, okay? Matilda, what is the verse of today?
So it says, most assuredly, I say to you, unless a grain of wheat falls into the ground and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, it produces much grain. John 12:24.
So what does that mean for people who don't read the Bible?
So in a nutshell, we, in a relationship, we have to be willing to kill certain parts of ourselves. Because if we want to bear fruit, like it says...
Just like a seed, it has to die, otherwise it will not bear fruit. Exactly.
If we want to be happy, if we want to see results, if we look at couples that have been together for years, it means that every day, one of them, or both, it has to be both actually, had to say no to themselves, no to their will, no to the way, you know, they were thinking, their upbringing, a lot of things, they had to say no. And that's why they were able to last this long. They're able to bear fruit.
And their love is so strong.
You look at them and you're like, you know, I want to have, not that, you know, you look at them and say, oh, this is it, but you're like, you see them as examples.
No, many people say, what's their secret?
Yeah.
Their secret is humbleness.
Yeah.
Forgiveness. That's what it is. And this is something that people struggle a lot with. Okay? Now, that's all we have time for. But before we go, just before we go, can you see the book of the day, of the week? We're talking about protecting your marriage. Look at this. We have yet another book, Bulletproof Marriage, right here, written in a very easy English to read. It's nothing too like, you don't find those words that you need to go to the dictionary.
Simple.
very easy to understand real life stories and situations and scenarios that perhaps you are facing. And by reading this book, it can save your relationship because it's based on the Word of God. The Word of God has an answer to every question. So get your hands on one of these and let me know what you think. Leave your comments. Remember to subscribe.
Yes.
Remember to share this program. And I'll see you again next week with perhaps Matilda or
Yes.
Dredula or any other
Yes,
guest.
yes.
All right? Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
This is a call to all the couples who are ready to embark on an extraordinary journey together. Registration for our next marriage course will soon commence. This course has been tailor-made for you, whether you are newly engaged, recently married, or celebrating years of togetherness. It has been designed to sustain the spark and fortify the bond that you share. During the 7-week course, you both will deepen your bond and acquire practical skills to overcome obstacles, cherishing every moment spent together along the way. Join us for an enlightening journey where you will uncover valuable insights, learn effective communication techniques, and build a foundation for a resilient and fulfilling relationship. For more information on our upcoming marriage course, send an email to love@uckg.org.